Hello and welcome to Irish Eyes on Wrestling, Week 9, Part 3. I'm Sherlock, at Sherlock on Twitter.
I'm Chris Sherlock, at Chris Sherlock93 on Twitter.
And today we're going to talk about the Slammy Awards, what happened on Monday night. And I have to say, WWE, they really annoyed me with this. The whole thing, their whole social media thing, they've been going on about it for ages. You have to vote on Twitter. But people have been finding out that it's all a fix, and anyway, because they can see what's trending on the side, and obviously stuff that's trending doesn't get picked.
Clearly.
So, and when they continue the storylines on from that, so they've gotten rid of the Twitter thing, and they've brought this new thing out with their WWE app. All the voting goes through there, so they can fix it without anybody else knowing what people are voting for. It's terrible. It's a terrible thing, because now it's not going to last. The raw active thing, I don't think it's going to last at all, because people now know it's completely under fix. We already knew beforehand that it was fixed, but now it is definitive proof.
Yeah.
But we'll start anyway. We'll talk about who WWE gave it to, and then what we think. The first one we'll talk about happened on TLC, and was the feat of strength, and they gave it to Sheamus hitting the white noise on the Big Show. Now, don't get me wrong, it's very impressive.
It's impressive, but let's be honest, look at the guys in the past. Everyone has...
A lot of people do
Big Show worked well, and Big Show lets people lift him. He does it well. He's always been the big guy. It's always been amazing when someone lifts him.
True.
So it kind of loses its effect.
Well, you heard King basically have an orgasm anytime John Cena does the AA on him.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But I do disagree, and I'd go with Cesaro doing the Gooch Neutralizer on... It's what it's called. I knew you'd be like this.
It's actually called the Gooch Neutralizer.
Yes.
I've never heard it been called that.
He lifts them by the
I
Gooch.
know! I actually thought you said Gooch by accident.
No.
Neutralizer's Gooch. Oh, sorry, Neutralizer. That's how it happened, sorry.
When he hits the neutralizer on, I should have just said neutralizer.
Yeah.
When he hits the neutralizer on Brodus Clay. It was an incredible thing. I was shocked that he's done it twice, and both times I've had to just applaud him, because it's such strength to show and do that. It's unbelievable. So fair play to Tony Cesaro. You get our Slammy Award for that. You should have gotten it. The next, it was a bit of a joker one, but it's the facial hair of the year. I'm going to continue, and I'm going to do exactly what WWE said and give it to Daniel Bryan, just because, he's put that as part of his gimmick, goat face and all that.
Yeah, look at it, it's an awesome beard.
But special mention to Cody's mustache, I must say.
Cody's mustache.
I am so impressed with that. Cody's mustache is great. Betrayal of the year. Big Show knocking out John Cena and over the limit to make Big Johnny win. It was kind of obvious. I wouldn't give it to that.
After Big Show being fired the week prior.
Yeah. Or the exact same week. It was terrible.
There was no shock.
Yeah, it was obvious it was going to happen.
Yeah.
They've done that storyline so many times in WWE. I voted for this one because it was on the pre-show, and I did say AJ low blowing Zack Ryder. Eve low blowing Zack Ryder at WrestleMania to give Team Johnny the victory over Team Teddy. It turned Eve complete heel and one of the most hated people in WWE at the time. She became the hostie, and Zack Ryder has been buried ever since.
Another honourable mention is pretty much anything AJ has done in the past year.
Yeah. Now if it was going to be given out now, I'd give the Slammy to AJ. For betraying John Cena at TLC.
AJ just being crazy.
Yeah. She's played a great crazy chick.
That night was a Raw just before Punk and Bryan had a title match.
Yeah.
She pushed them through a table? Or the two of them went through a table and just left AJ?
Yeah, she pushed them. Yeah, she was going to jump through the table herself and they both stopped her.
Yeah.
So then she pushed them. Yeah, that was great. The next another Slammy was the first Slammy given out on the night was the "Tell me I did not just see that." The Booker T Slammy, as he gave it and said it. It was the most shocking moment of the year, and they gave it to Kofi Kingston walking on his hands to avoid elimination at the Royal Rumble. Very early nomination from early 2012. Don't get me wrong, it was great. It was great, and the other shocking moments that WWE nominated was Brad Maddox slow blowing Ryback. We nominated that as well.
Yeah.
CM Punk hitting the GTS on The Rock. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't say that was shocking. It was a great moment, and it was great to see Punk finally turning heel again. But I wouldn't put it in one of the most shocking moments. And Sheamus beating Daniel Bryan in 18 seconds. We put that as it was a very, very close race for the first two, for the winner and the nominate. That one there, 18 seconds at Mania.
Our winner in the
but
end
our winner
was
again was Sheamus. Sheamus was going to win it either way.
Yeah, it was only a very recent one.
It was
Hell in a
Cell, the first pay-per-view we've done here.
It was simply Sheamus kicking out of the knockout punch.
No one had ever done it before.
I remember watching it with Carl here, and both of us were just in absolute shock. I think
we had the same reaction.
It was the first time in a long time I was actually genuinely shocked.
Yeah.
It was just, I never saw it coming. I seen Big Show hit the knockout punch, and we both kind of turned to each other and said,
well, that's it.
Well, there you go, Big Show wins, and then he just kicked out and was like, oh my god.
It was brilliant. We were both another awe. Now, obviously the bro kick happened then, and Big Show kicked out. It was even more hysteria. But then, of course, the second knockout punch finished it. But yeah, Sheamus, you get the most shocking moment of the year, kicking out of the knockout punch. Definitely wins that. Comeback of the year was given to Jerry the King Lawler, and we'd agreed to put Jerry the King Lawler as the winner, but we don't count that as a comeback of the year. As a wrestling comeback. Don't get me wrong, he came back from the death. It's an amazing thing to do, and he done it. But there's a wrestling comeback. We're not going to count Jerry Lawler. Obviously, if he was nominated in our category, he'd win it.
Yeah, still an honourable mention to Jerry Lawler for returning from the brink of death.
But in all fairness, it was nominated. This one wasn't the winner for ours. Was nominated, and we're going to give it to it. Brock Lesnar coming back on Raw the night after WrestleMania. It was amazing. You could see it in the crowd. The crowd, a lot of people knew it was going to happen. Obviously, with dirt sheets now, you can't not know when people are going to return. Well, it was a bit of a shock with Ric Flair at the Slammies, I must say. But Lesnar coming back, you see it in the crowd. It's now an iconic image of that guy just going, oh! Everybody it's recognisable now, and it was just amazing to see Lesnar back. He hasn't done much since he come back.
It was kind of, his matches were terrible.
Well, no, I enjoyed the one with Triple H, but the one with John Cena was just a complete another waste of time, and for him to lose to John Cena, I was very annoyed. It kind of failed, but it was good to see him come back. And anyway, I'd give the comeback of the year to Brock Lesnar. The next one was Kiss of the Year.
AJ
with
AJ
and AJ.
With AJ.
Yes. Oh no. Yeah.
Stop.
No.
Steady on.
It was the kisses were with John Cena, Daniel Bryan, Kane, and CM Punk. John Cena, the one with John Cena shouldn't have won, to be honest, because it was terrible. It was a terrible kiss. It was awkward. Fucking it just looked horrible.
Let's say AJ won.
Yeah, AJ won, and she was going to win. And the only reason she won with John Cena was because it's John Cena. And furthered the storyline on a bit, because Dolph Ziggler then came out and said blah blah blah, and AJ ended up kissing Dolph. Next one was what? The next one was okay. We'll leave Superstar of the Year till the final one.
To avoid much controversy.
Yes, because that's.
We'll get to that now in a minute or two.
And another waste of time one, or two wasted time ones here, I have to say. I don't know why they were Slammies. The trending now hashtag of the year. The winner was hashtag feeding more. beat hashtag Lil Jimmy, hashtag woo woo woo, you know it, and hashtag people power. I don't know. It was a terrible waste of time. I have to say.
Hashtag yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean that actually really took off on Twitter. Hashtag yes, 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 and hashtag skip, skip, skip. Whenever AJ skips down to the ring, that they go on all the time. Don't know why they weren't nominated. LOL moment of the year. I wouldn't agree with what WWE done and give it to The Rock throwing John Cena's items into the Boston Harbor.
Yes, but it was The Rock and John
Cena.
Cena.
Yeah, I know.
So let's pretty much give John Cena everything we can because it's John Cena.
It should have been because it was the funniest thing over the summer. It was the best thing over the summer. It was hell no in all their visits to group therapy with Dr. Shelby.
Funny.
It's the funniest thing WWE has done in years. I don't know how it didn't win. I was actually livid that they didn't win. I was very annoyed. And you could see Daniel Bryan was as well, because he came in storming out onto the stage. Obviously, they made them lose because of the storyline, which is ridiculous, to be honest. And of course, The Rock wasn't there to accept the award. And you could hear the crowd booing. You could hear the crowd booing so much when Santino and Tensai were out there. And Santino, I have to say, was very funny because he broke character and called Tensai Albert.
Yeah, well, he said that Tensai is Japanese for Fat Albert.
Yeah.
It's just genius.
Oh, and I laughed because Tensai has now become a show character again. So, you know, calling him Albert again, it was funny, I have to say. I laughed. But he then, when Santino was like, oh, and I accept this award because The Rock is not here, and just boom! It was brilliant. He had to stop talking because there were so many boos and no one could hear him. It was brilliant. But one thing that really annoyed me was Randy Orton getting nominated for the funniest moment of the year. Randy Orton, funny. They're two words that doesn't go together.
The only funny thing I've ever seen Randy Orton do was he hit an RKO. He was teaming with Christian, hit an RKO.
Tried on Jericho and he missed.
he hit the RKO and got up and jumped up in the air doing the splits and got so hyper and crazy. It was just so out of character, and it's actually the funniest thing I've ever seen Orton do. But it was just
I remember the time he went for Jericho was doing a Jericho on somebody.
he ran,
he missed. Made Jericho look like a complete another prat because he continues doing the walls of Jericho and not does that. Not the irony about it. And Orton comes up and does the RKO again. But Randy Orton, funny. It doesn't go together. He's the most uncharismatic guy in the business. I mean, it's ridiculous that he's getting funny moment nominations. And it was for beating up Alberto Del Rio backstage. How is that funny? He's fighting. It's not meant to be funny. A bit of comedy can be put into matches, of course, but he was beating someone up and thrown. It was a food fight. I mean, are we really going back to the days that we're finding food fights funny? It's ridiculous. Randy Orton should not be nominated for that. Just saying. Newcomer of the year they gave to Ryback, and again it annoyed the hell out of me because Ryback shouldn't be nominated there.
Yeah, Ryback won, isn't he?
Granted, alright, he came out with a new gimmick, but Ryback shouldn't have won it.
Yeah, it was Ryback didn't need to win. He didn't need recognition of winning that because Ryback isn't. Chill. But he's saying Newcomer of the Year. Sheamus won Newcomer of the Year.
But Sheamus won.
But the year Sheamus won Newcomer of the Year,
he won the WWE title.
Breakout star of the year, and then he went off and won. But that set him up. The fact that he was considered the breakout star of the year went on then won the WWE title.
Well, he won the WWE title. That's why he won that. Why he won the Newcomer of the Year? Because he won the ECW Battle Royal after being in the business for 6 weeks, and won the ECW thing to get a WWE title shot against John Cena, and he won at the TLC.
Like, as much as I like Ryback, to be fair, he squashed
people, and he's lost at every pay-per-view.
He squashed people that no one's ever heard of, no one will ever hear of. Then he beat Kurt Hawkins and Tyler Rex.
Yeah, and he beat a couple of jobbers.
Odd match, and he beat The Miz once or twice.
Beat The Miz, yeah. And then he's lost to everyone.
Yeah, he's lost in all 3 pay-per-views he's been
Yeah,
in.
He's had a terrible year in
all
fairness.
3 main event matches he's been in.
I don't agree at all that Ryback wins that. If anything, I'd give it to Antonio Cesaro.
Yeah,
we're giving it to Cesaro. He's the only one of the newcomers that has won a title.
And it's been incredibly impressive.
He's been incredibly impressive in the ring. He's entertaining as hell. His gimmick isn't great.
No.
But he's getting heat. He's getting heel heat, putting down the USA.
He's taking heat and he manages it really well.
Yeah, and he can have fun. He can wrestle against the smaller guys and does it brilliantly. But then he can also have great matches with the likes of Sheamus.
Yeah.
And the match he had with Sheamus was outstanding. So I'm definitely giving it to Cesaro. Other honourable mentions we'd give, not like WWE gave it to Brodus Clay.
Yeah, it's Brodus Clay. I get okay. He came up with a new gimmick, the Funkasaurus, but
he didn't even change his name from when he was
the
Real's bodyguard. Or are we meant to completely forget about that again?
Or like when he was in the NXT, he was still Brodus Clay.
Yeah. Or we meant to just completely forget about it.
Other mentions are Damien Sandow, who definitely deserves to be there.
Had a great year.
Very good year. No, he hasn't won a title, but
he hasn't won a title.
Incredibly impressive again, like against small guys, and then in big matches, he's been incredibly impressive.
And you know Triple H likes him because he was the one chosen at Raw 1000 to come out and get the pedigree and just switch in from DX. Yeah. You know, so he has the backing from backstage.
Yeah.
Another honorable mention, you said it, and I had to agree.
Titus O'Neil. Again, I know people are gonna deny that because Titus O'Neil was in NXT, but it's his first. I'm considering
it was breakout star
from his WWE debut.
Yeah.
I know he debuted with PTP, but
no, he's been incredibly impressive.
He's such a strong, talented superstar. He's
future world champion.
Definitely a future star in the company.
Yeah, big time. And
great charisma.
Oh, when he was on that night, he was on commentary with King and Cole and Jade. Yeah, it was just King and Cole, I think. But he was outstanding. He was really funny, and he's definitely future world champion. And before we get into the next one, there's a Slammy I would like to give out that they didn't in WWE, which I was shocked about because they should have this one every year. It was Commentator of the Year. I'm giving it to JBL.
Yeah. The wrestling god, the commentating god.
Yes, the longest reigning WWE champion in SmackDown history. He was only there for the last couple months after Jerry Lawler had the heart attack, but it was so refreshing, and he's so good on commentating.
He's so good that they've given him a full-time contract.
Yes, I mean
his own web show.
Yeah, he's just so good, and the knowledge that he has. Yeah, he goes back and he talks about their knowledge pre-WWE. You know, he's really good, and he talks about their history in WWE as well. He's the guy that need to be there.
Yeah, he's a wrestler. You have Jerry Lawler hasn't been a wrestler for a long time. He's never wrestled really with any of the guys in the business.
Don't forget the multiple matches he had with Miz last year.
Yeah,
or the year before.
Properly wrestled competitively with the guys. JBL wrestled with them all.
And hang on, Cole is undefeated at WrestleMania.
Sure. No, don't speak for wrestlers. Michael Cole's been around for years. He's a good commentator.
Yeah.
He's a vintage commentator.
He's a vintage commentator. When he's not,
licking someone's ass.
Licking Vince, getting down was all forward for Vince.
Joining the Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club.
Yeah. But
JBL wins.
JBL wins. He's a great commentator.
And he has experience in ring, out ring.
Yeah, exactly. He's a great guy to have there. He'll be gone in a couple of weeks to climb more mountains, but he's still doing that. Match of the year then, and we're going exactly with what WWE said. Undertaker versus Triple H at WrestleMania, the end of an era match. It wasn't the greatest match, but the story told in the match, just
50 years of wrestling knowledge
in that ring.
Well,
more if you count Michaels.
Yeah, well, he didn't wrestle.
He hit the switch in.
He hit the switch in. Again, that's betrayal.
That wasn't a betrayal. It was always going to happen.
It was It's the only thought it was going to happen, but is Michael going to be that respectful not to do it?
Yeah, but the fact he'd done that, he hit the sweet chin into the pedigree, and Taker still kicked out. It was unbelievable.
And Taker had a mohawk.
Taker did have a mohawk, gone all Chuck Liddell on as he was.
Yeah.
But the match itself, it was a great match, but the story told. You could see the emotion in those three guys. It was just, it was unbelievable. It was such a great match. Other matches, nominated from WWE was The Rock and John Cena at WrestleMania. No.
It wasn't a bad match, but it wasn't even the best match from wrestling. Not including Taker and Edge. It wasn't even the best match from WrestleMania.
Yeah, true.
CM Punk and Jericho.
Which should have been nominated, or their match at Extreme Rules should have been nominated. Not the farcity of the next match that was nominated. Terrible match of John Cena, The Rock at Extreme Rules. Or sorry, Brock, which is Brock Lesnar and John Cena.
Well, it's John Cena, so John Cena 2 months in a row.
It was an absolute farce of a match. It was terrible. No, I was very pissed off when it was nominated.
Calm down.
No.
It's okay.
No. I'm passionate about it.
Bad man's gone.
But it was a terrible. It shouldn't have been nominated because it was a bad match, and I think everyone was shocked that it got nominated. To be honest, the Triple H Brock Lesnar match was better, but that shouldn't have been nominated as well because it was a bad match.
The last nomination that the WWE put forward is one that I'm gonna put on my nomination list as well.
It was great.
Sheamus and Big Show at Hell in a Cell. We already mentioned this earlier on.
It was a great match. That's why this storyline has gone on for so long.
Yeah, we said it as our oh my god moment.
Yeah. We didn't agree with the match at first. We hated the storyline.
Yeah, we thought it was really tearing over. Then the matches.
We started doing the show 9 weeks ago now, and it was the night before Hell in a Cell, and we predicted this match, and we didn't want to talk about this match because
both of us said Sheamus.
Both of us said Sheamus. Both of us didn't want this match to happen because we didn't think it would work. But how wrong were we?
Yeah, not the best match of the year, but definitely one of them.
Yeah. I also want to put forward basically any match that CM Punk and Daniel Bryan had against each other, because they were great.
Yeah.
Especially the one when AJ Lee was the special guest referee.
They just took candlesticks to each other for 20
yeah.
minutes.
No, it was a great match, great story told, and very entertaining. We were talking about other matches before the show as well.
A lot of matches with Dolph Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler against CM Punk at the Royal Rumble was great. Very entertaining match. Dolph Ziggler had many matches as well. That was just outstanding. He stole the show a lot of nights.
That main event rivalry with Dolph Ziggler and Kofi Kingston.
Yeah.
They had 2 weeks in a row
yeah.
each other, and they were brilliant
they
matches.
Were great, yeah.
Two of the most talented guys in the company.
True. And another one I want to put forward was a very late nominee with TLC, The Shield against Ryback and Hell No. It was a standing match, and it was the in-ring debut for Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins. 2 or 3 future world champions right there, without a doubt. Maybe Evolution style, one of them breaks off and the other are tag team for a while or something, I don't know. But it'll be Roman Reigns to break off first to be world champion. Yeah, I'll guarantee that now. With the family ties with The Rock.
Yeah, it helps to be related to The Rock.
It helps to be Rock's cousin.
Yeah.
But that was match of the year. Definitely going to go with what WWE said, Undertaker and Triple H at WrestleMania. End of an era.
Yeah. Now for our final Slammy.
Superstar of the year.
And I don't even want to talk about what WWE said.
They said John Cena. Now, this match, if you didn't think that was a complete and utter fix, you knew it was a complete and utter fix after John Cena was given the Slammy. Because John Cena has had the worst year in his wrestling career.
Yeah.
He has lost numerous times. He started off, he beat Kane at the Royal Rumble when Kane came back with the mask.
Yeah.
Then Elimination Chamber, he lost in the Chamber, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he lost to The Rock at WrestleMania. Then he moves on to fighting John Laurinaitis.
No, it was Lesnar.
Oh, Lesnar. He beat Brock Lesnar in a terrible farce of a match. Then he went against John Laurinaitis again in a main event. How did that main event over? How did that main event over CM Punk? I do not know. He fought John Laurinaitis again the month after, I think it was. He moved on to Big Show. He beat the Big Show. But then he went against CM Punk for months on end.
And
Lost to
all of
CM
them.
Punk months on end. And then he moves on to Dolph Ziggler and loses to Dolph Ziggler.
And he's Superstar of the Year.
And becomes the first man ever to cash in Money in the Bank and lose! How does he get Superstar of the Year? Now obviously it's a complete and utter farce, because you can see he gave it to Ric Flair, and that brought CM Punk out. But Ric Flair, oh God, the only reason he's there, don't get me wrong, I'm glad Nature's back, but the only reason there is because he has to pay for alimony again. You know, it's the 4th time he's divorced. I'm being blunt here. The only reason he's there is because he has to pay for another woman. I'm sure he'll be paying for a lot more women now as well. But other nominees. He has to be styling no profiling. But other nominees were CM Punk, which he should win. He had a great year. He's still champion. 398, 99 days now?
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah, if not gone on to 400. I mean, how didn't he win Superstar of the Year? I mean, he hasn't lost at a pay-per-view. It's unbelievable that they even think of not letting CM Punk win. They had Big Show as a nominee. No, he won at WrestleMania. Got the monkey off his back. He beat Cody Rhodes, but then he lost a month after by stepping through a table. You know, he got his big contract, but he got squashed by John Cena. We all knew it was happening though. And then he beat Sheamus, and don't get me wrong, that was grand. But he's not it's not a Superstar of the Year worthy nomination. And then Sheamus wins. Granted, I'd nominate Sheamus. He'd never win it in my opinion. But he should deserve the nomination. He did win. He won the Royal Rumble. He won at WrestleMania in 18 seconds. And he had a very lengthy title reign in which he didn't lose at all for months on end.
Yeah.
So he does deserve a nomination itself. But
there is no doubt that CM Punk is Superstar of the Year. But other nominations, okay, you're going to say Sheamus, Grant.
I'd nominate Sheamus, yeah.
Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, without a doubt. And Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
They both deserve it.
Dolph is it's probably the most technically sound.
Well, maybe not technically sound.
All around sound.
Yeah, all around, yeah. And on the mic.
CM Punk and Daniel Bryan are technically sound, but Ziggler, he's quicker, he has more stamina. He's more of an all-around wrestler. He could do the 2 matches a night if he had to.
And he did, multiple times.
You know, he's a dark match guy and then a main event guy.
Yeah. No, Dolph Ziggler should have been nominated. I was very annoyed that he wasn't. But fair play to Dolph anyway. He's had a great year, and he's finally allowed on the mic.
Yeah. He's
finally allowed to show what he can do on the mic, and it works. That promo he hit on AJ in the locker room there a couple of weeks ago was outstanding. But CM Punk, Superstar of the Year. I do just remember a shocking moment that I want to bring up. And it was an almost moment. And just for those 5 minutes, I actually wanted it to happen. It was Elimination Chamber. Earlier on in the year, at the start of the year, I wanted Santino Marella to be World Heavyweight Champion. For those 5 minutes, he had the world in the palm of his hand. Or the Cobra, I should say.
No, you shouldn't.
But Santino was great in that match, and the Royal Rumble as well, the year beforehand. If you remember, he almost won it, but the Rio won. He's had those moments. Now, I'd never wanted it to happen at the Royal Rumble, but this year at Elimination Chamber, oh my God, it was so entertaining. He had the crowd so much behind him. The cheers that he was getting was unbelievable. I'm sure Vince must be like, maybe we get Daniel Bryan just to lose here, because we're going to screw him at WrestleMania anyway. But I don't know, it was great. It was great to see Santino getting the smallest of main event pushes. But he's back to comedy jobber now. I just wanted to mention that. But there are Slammies. If you agree or you don't disagree, contact us with the hashtag IEOW. You can find us on Twitter, on our Twitter handles, Carl Sherlock, at Carl Sherlock and at Chris Sherlock 93. You can also find us on the Facebook. It's Carl Sherlock and Chris Sherlock. We'll be back next week, week 10, momentous week. So just have to say Slán on Carl Sherlock, at Carl Sherlock on Twitter.
And Chris Sherlock, at Chris Sherlock on Twitter.
Merry Christmas.